Next, we are going to be reading the article and filling out the say and do chart so that way we are better prepared to figure out the argument structure. So we have in the say and do chart, which is in page 3 in the article, or which is in page 3 in the packet, you have the paragraph numbers in the first column. The second column is what does the author say. The third column is what does the author do. And what you're doing in what does the author say is you're summarizing the information. What you're going to be writing in what does the author do is picking out the rhetorical strategies that the author is using to try and convey their ideas. So let's go ahead and look at paragraph number 1. So if you have it, go ahead, take a moment and read it. All right, so if you hope you paused that, took a moment to read it, and you can see that the best summary of the summary that I'm going to put down of that article is Olvera supports aid in dying, and he wants to counter anti aid in dying myths. He is a doctor and a Catholic. And while reading the article is really helpful, it gives us our ideas. I think that it's also helpful, reading the article is also helpful for filling out the third column of what does the author do. But another way to find out and kind of glean some more information that's really valuable for this exercise is to look at the questions. So on page 2, the questions for paragraph 1 is how does Olvera establish authority in this paragraph? The second question is, how does he connect to his audience? And then also, who opposes the End of Life Act? So we've got those questions, and the first 2 questions I think are very kind of give an insight that is there, but maybe isn't so clear. And that is that Olvera is establishing He's establishing authority and connecting to the audience with his Catholic faith. And he talks about, who is against his idea. So he identifies opposition and mentions the purpose of the article. All right, so he has done all that in the first paragraph. That's his strategies there. So let's go ahead and move to paragraph 2. So if you have it with you, take a moment and read paragraph 2. You can pause here if you need to. All right. And another thing, another good strategy is you can look at your answers as well as the questions of that are included on page 2 and maybe gain some insight into, what's going to be the important takeaways. So the questions for paragraph 2 is what is the purpose of paragraph 2? And then the second question is who co-authored the bill? So I don't know, those aren't too insightful, but it is, something still, it's a good idea to look at the questions and see what you can glean. So what I'm going to write down as the main takeaways from that, the summary. So what does the author say is going to be that Olvera describes the bill that might become an end of oh, sorry, an end of So what Olvera does is he describes the bill that might become an end-of-life option law in California. So this is when they're thinking about it in the state and the higher state government. So don't know what it's going to be, but he's giving some background information. So what is that doing? That is indeed giving background information on the topic of controversy. So it is this end-of-life option is a controversial issue. So he's letting people know about it, giving them some background so that they can understand where it currently stands. Let's look next at paragraph 3. So if you have your text, go ahead and read paragraph 3. You can pause here if you need to. All right, so in paragraph 3, so the 3 through also thinking about paragraph 3, we can look at the questions on page 2 and think about these different ideas such as euthanasia, mercy killing, and assisted suicide. Those terms are going to be terms that he debates. And then the first question, that's actually the second question, but the first question is, why does Olvera believe it is wise to model the bill after Oregon? So that was something that he talked about. So it's kind of saying like, okay, let's think about why that information might be important. So let's say that in paragraph 3, we're giving the important information and talking and saying that Oregon, so the Oregon death with dignity law has a 16-year track record with no reported cases of abuse. So this is kind of detailed, but I'm just putting that out there. This is hopefully so it's kind of easy for you to look over later, just check at a glance. So why is he doing this? Why does he include this? Well, because this information, what he's writing, it supports Olvera's stance. So it supports Olvera's stance on the article's controversial topic by describing a successful example. All right, so paragraph 3 supports Olvera's stance on the article's controversial topic by describing a successful example. All right, so we've got the first 3 paragraphs done in our say and do chart. So I'm going to go ahead, take a pause here, and we'll come back in the next video and do the next set of paragraphs.